Hello.
Hey, you there? Oops. All right, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I was
Okay,
checking my mic, checking your mic,
you're good. And
and then put.
I just started the YouTube stream,
Okay, all right, perfect.
so we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and start the class, and I'll just do the pre-work.
All right.
All right, we'll talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, everybody, and hey, even good morning. This is Ron Wheeler. I will be the host for today's Options Paycheck class, our breakthrough system to generate safe monthly income in any type of market. We are going to be starting the official presentation in about 2 minutes, 4:30 Eastern time, and we always have folks all over the place that come to these. That's why I kind of joke in the beginning about good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Do me a favor. I'm actually kind of curious. In the chat window, if you can hear my voice, and Sherilyn and Jay, I know you guys already can. You guys have already talked to me. If you can hear my voice, type a yes into the chat window, and then also let me know where you're from. I'll start. I'm actually from northeastern Ohio, just a little south of Cleveland, a little bit west of Akron, Ohio. Medina is actually where I live. I live in Ohio, born and raised, and I work for VectorVest's Ohio office. And my two colleagues that are here with me today, Todd and John, they're down in our North Carolina office, so we're in separate places. Terry, Colorado Springs, and Donald, Georgia. Allen Park, James, welcome to you. I probably will miss a few of you because there's a lot of people. Alex from Raleigh, welcome to you. And Lloyd, Vancouver, Alberta, right there. Another Canadian. Scott from Maryland, welcome. Sherilyn, displaced Cincinnatian. I spent quite a bit of time in Cincinnati. My sister went to Xavier, and then, if you can believe it, the Cincinnati College of Mortuary Science. So I used to visit her all the time. She lived just outside of Hyde Park. Raleigh, North Carolina, Gary, Indiana, welcome to you, Ken. Good to have you with us. Buffalo, New York, John, welcome. Buffalo's kind of like what I feel is our sister city here in Cleveland. So good deal, Fred or Frank from Edmonton, Alberta. Quite a few of you folks from Calgary or Alberta. I see Dan. I think I mentioned you already. Don from Georgia. I know I got you. I'm trying to go back to the list. Michael, welcome from Canada. Tony, Sausalito, California. That's got to be one of my favorite cities in California. I've been there a few times. Right over the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a nice little area. Nice area to walk through. I enjoyed that. We would go there every time we went to San Francisco. Oh, Uganda. Welcome, Cool Deep. I hope I pronounced your name right, and if not, I apologize. Lloyd from Vancouver, welcome to you as well. Vancouver, BC, that is, not Vancouver, Washington. Bill, welcome to you. I know you, Bill. All right, cool. So that's good. Looks like everything is working. So we are going to kick this thing off because it is 4:30 Eastern time, and I want to make sure I can pack as much as I can in this hour and 10 minutes that we have together about the option paycheck system. So let's go ahead and begin. Now, just a few things that I want to talk about. Number one is that the seminar is mostly interactive, okay? Now, I've got my two colleagues and friends here, Todd and John, in the background. They're going to answer questions during the class. I will not generally look at questions during the class, but there are a few times when I do want some feedback from you guys. I'm going to ask you some questions and have your thoughts. So if you would share with me, that would be great. And then after the formal presentation, we are going to have a Q&A session afterwards. How long that goes, just goes however long you have questions for. I'm here. So I don't mind. Now, I want to again officially get started. So welcome to today's webinar. It's called the Options Paycheck. In today's webinar, I'll be showing you the breakthrough system I developed here at VectorVest to generate safe monthly income in any market. Now, this information I'm going to share with you has changed my life, and I've really seen it change the lives of so many people. So I hope you're excited about it. In fact, my promise to you today is this. In this webinar, you will see how you can make a paycheck averaging $3,000 or more per month. Now, this figure, and this is the important part, is based on the fact that most of our clients can generate on average 3% per month. Now, on average means over the course of a year, so you might have some months at 6, some months at 2, some months at 0, some months at -2. But over the course of the year, we want you to average about 3% per month. If you have 100,000 in capital, 3,000 a month. If you have 50,000 in capital, 1,500 a month. So right around that 3% per month. Now, keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction. We can make money up or down. You can do it even if you have little to no prior experience, as long as you are good at following directions and checklists. You can do it safer than simply buying stocks, and I'll show you why. And here's the biggest thing. You can make money even if you're wrong on direction. Now, I know 3% per month may sound too good to be true, but a lot of our clients are even doing better than that. So in today's webinar, I'm going to show you the exact system I use to generate these types of returns. I'll show you some case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this month in and month out. I'll show you our system so that if you learn and follow our strategy, you can duplicate it. I'm also going to prove to you that our options paycheck system will get better returns safely, better than even trading stocks or just options by themselves. Now, the webinar ultimately is built on results, not just the results I've seen personally, but the results of people that I've worked with, people that I have taught the system to. Results like Brian turning 6,000 into 23,000 in profits in 10 months. A lot of people ask about IRAs. One of our clients, John, grew his IRA by 112% in 12 months. Bob, 71% ROI in 4 months. Mike generating over 3,000 a month per income in his first 4 months following the system. And I'll show you how one of our clients, Bruce, grew his account from 100 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. And I'll also share a number of our other client success stories. Now, here's an example of the trade that we're talking about. This is Costco. I've traded Costco a lot, like the store, like the stock. Had a great looking chart at the time. Okay, now this is back from a while back. Had a great looking chart. Price was rising, as rising earnings, good fundamentals. Everything looks awesome. But the graph didn't look all that awesome after a while. If you bought the stock, it basically stalled. It only rose about 1.4% over the next 3 to 4 weeks. That's not so good. But with our paycheck system, you don't have to be exactly right on direction. Our paycheck system trade actually returned our normal profit target for this in 12 days. So you can see how Frank up there, one of my clients in our retirement group, closed the bull put spread on Costco this morning for $9.55. Okay, now imagine having several of those trades on each month. Now, are there going to be losing trades? You bet there's going to be losing trades. But the option paycheck system averages over time 70% winning trades. That's what's going to help you turn into a consistent income machine. So today, I'm going to show you the trade that does that. So if learning how to do that sounds good to you, now is a great time to turn off all distractions. I want you to close your door, turn off your cell phone, close down other windows in your computer. I don't want you to multitask or you might miss something important. I want you to stay focused and give this your full attention because you're going to be learning something that can make a huge positive impact on the rest of your life. Now, earlier I mentioned my name is Ron Wheeler. I am Ron Wheeler. I'm the Option Income Coach. My official title is Manager of Options Trading here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for 24 years. Wow, you know, when I say that, it's kind of incredible. I remember when I first started out and my mentor saying, you're not good until you've been doing it for 5 years. And I'd be like, oh my God, 5 years is an eternity. Now here it is 24 years later. Now, when I first started trading, like a lot of people, I had mostly losses. In fact, I lost a couple of my trading accounts. And the reason I was losing was because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something, it had to go up. If I sold something, it had to go down. If I wasn't right, I'd lose money. Now, this puts two problems into our view. Number one, you have to learn to be right a lot more than be wrong. Okay, so that means you have to learn good analysis skills, good fundamentals, technical analysis, whatever you want to do. Okay, that's the first thing. You got to learn to be able to predict market direction. Not easy, but not terribly hard for the most part. Now, once you understand how to identify market direction, the second thing you need to do is get a good handle on risk management. What do I mean by that? Well, over the years, people always ask me, Ron, what is your accuracy? Honestly, accuracy in that day never bothered me. Are you 70% accurate? Are you 80% accurate? Are you 60% accurate? Accuracy to me is kind of like a red herring. It's not about accuracy. Accuracy is nice, but what really comes into play is risk management. You can be 90% right and still lose money. I know traders that are 40% right, but are profitable. If you're making $1,000 on every winner and you're only losing $100 on your losers, you can afford to be wrong a lot. That's the risk management contingent of trading. And a reason that a lot of traders fail is because you have to manage both of those to be successful. You have to get the analysis right, which is a stumbling block. You have to get the risk management right, which is a stumbling block. Well, After about 2 years and having the best mentors really in trading, I'm talking some of the best traders in the country, I was able to turn the corner and be profitable. It took me about 1.5 to 2 years to get everything in place. Now, as I was teaching and as I was learning along the way, once I became successful at trading, the company I worked for allowed me to start teaching basic skills. One of the customers that I had been working with, he was actually a hedge fund manager out of the Midwest, managing like $600 to $700 million, and he was using our analysis. He came out to the office one day because he was just in town and he wanted to visit us. We were good friends. And he's like, hey, Ron, I do options. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. I don't do options, man. I do commodities. And he's like, well, let me show you why I do options. Like, I know you're, negative on options because of all these things. Let me show you what I do. So basically what he showed me was that he could take the analysis that I used and he could formulate a trade that even if he was wrong, he would still be profitable. He would say, he'd show me on a screen, now Ron, you took this trade on crude oil. You got stopped out here, but I made money because I set the trade up there. Even if it went there, I still was profitable. Long story short, he showed me the inside secret to using options so that even if I'm wrong with my analysis, I could still make money. And I want you to think of the pressure that takes off you. You don't have to be right to make money. And another great thing about these trades is they have fixed risk and fixed profits. So you know the money management up front. Okay? He turned me into an options guy. So here I am 24 years later, and now I trade options because I too have seen the beauty of that. So today's journey, I'm going to cover the key strategic shift that generates income safely from the market. Okay? I'm going to show you how to win even if you're wrong on market direction. I'll show you how to do this with very little risk. You're going to learn the big mistake that a lot of people make and what you need to do to place low risk trades. In fact, the risk will be even lower than if you bought and sold the stock. And I'm going to show you how you can turn this into a bulletproof system to use in as little as 15 minutes a day. This is how we can get that 3% on average per month. Now, over the last decade, I've really fine-tuned this options paycheck system. I really made it so anybody can do it. I've learned from mistakes that my past clients have made. I've optimized the system to make it easier and easier every year. So this is what we're going to talk about today. So my first question to you guys, does that sound okay? Does it sound like you're in the right place? I just want to make sure. We're all there. All right, total focus. I like it. Yes, Scott, you say, and all that. Okay, good deal. All right, good. I see lots of yeses coming through there. I see Daniel and Scott and Kodeep and Andres. All right, welcome. So let's go ahead and venture forward. Now, again, when I ask for some input, make sure you are, letting me know in that chat window because there's going to be a lot more to come. Now, why is this important? Well, I want you to kick it back to this. Why do we work? To understand why this is important, the question is, why do we work in the first place? Now, if you surveyed 100 people and asked them why they go to work in the first place, you might get a bunch of responses like, hey, it's a contribution, a sense of achievement, gives me purpose. But the overwhelming answer to this question is because you get paid. The paycheck enables us to live hopefully pretty well today and put away enough for the future so one day we won't have to work anymore. But the hard truth is, without a system to help you generate income, you're stuck trading your time, which is your life, for money. In other words, without an income system, it's on you. And this creates a number of problems for us. If we aren't retired, it keeps us stuck in a situation where we have to work in order to live. What this means is we are trading time, in other words, our lives, for money. Whether you've got a lot of money or no money at all, concern about finances are one of the leading causes of stress. Worrying about whether we'll have enough or if we'll run out of money can have a big impact on our lives, our health, even our relationships, right? It's one of the number of leading causes of divorce. In other words, we can't stop working until we have enough, but we don't really know what enough is, so we keep working to get enough, just like this hamster on the wheel. We're taught to work for some future event called retirement when we could finally stop working so hard and enjoy ourselves. Now, in my opinion, working to save enough for retirement on its own is not enough, and it's not really the best approach. Because if you're already retired, that nest egg that you created starts getting depleted faster than you can refill it. And if it gets depleted too much, you might feel you'll have to give up and go back to work. And if you run out of money, your standard of living drops. You can't live the lifestyle you want. However, with a system to help you generate income, things are a lot different. And I believe this is probably the most important point of the webinar. So pay attention to this and write it down if you need to. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. This is why most of us spend the majority of our lives working for a paycheck. However, in order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So let me say this again. In order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. Now, whether you're working or retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Now listen, let me be clear. I'm not suggesting you take our course and then quit your day job, but when you have the ability to generate income, your life will change. I'm going to share with you a little story. Before I worked for VectorVest, I actually worked for eSignal, which was a data provider, and I taught technical analysis for them. My boss, Craig, great guy. After I left the company, he would talk to us, and I still talk to him. He's like, Ron, you guys were probably the hardest team I ever had to manage. I said, why? I thought we were great employees, and I thought we did everything great. He's like, no, you were. He's like, but normally when you manage people, they are dependent on the job, and that kind of keeps them straightened away, and you can do things. He's like, you guys at any point you wanted could just say, I've had enough of this and walk away and do something else because you were generating income. You were making money trading, and you weren't tied into what the company was doing. He's like, that made it very difficult from a personnel point to manage people. He's like, I've never experienced that before. And it's like, that's what this is all about, right? It's kind of having that, I don't want to say it, but the blah, blah money, right? Once you have that ability, things become so much easier. Now, if you're still working like I do, you can increase your earning capacity. That's what I do. That's what I like. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can keep your income coming in as if you quit your job, but they keep paying you. It's like a tap that you can turn on when you need it. That lets you live your lifestyle, doing the things that you want to do now and hopefully when you retire. That is why what we're going to talk about today is so important. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire sooner. When you have that system and you're not retired, you can live a wealthier life without depleting your nest egg. And as I said, I believe this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'm just going to say it one more time. When the income from our investments exceeds our living expenses, we become financially free or have the ability to retire. In my opinion, learning how to generate income is even more important than how much we earn in our jobs. Now listen, why do we work? We work to generate income. When can we stop? When the income from our investments is enough for us to live. And you'd be surprised in how little you need to get started. For example, Brian is a client of ours who's a great example of how easy you can become proficient at this, even if you don't have a lot to start with. Now, he had some health problems, and he said he needed a way to supplement his income. So he was able to generate $23,000 in profit starting with this $6,000. Now at the beginning I said, listen, I'm hoping for 3% a month. Brian did a lot more than that. He traded very heavily but safely. He said he achieved a 100% winning trade rate in 10 months, 31 of 31 winning trades. Now that's not beginner's luck, by the way. It's the result of the system. The system that helped him achieve that and create that $23,000 in profit with only $6,000 starting capital in 10 months safely. Now, how did Brian do it? Well, the first thing that you need to know to take control of your returns is a bit of a strategic mindset shift, if you will. You're either going to continue being a gambler, where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller. That is the key. And win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month and allow you to win even when you're wrong. Now, the reason why you want to be the house or the casino, if you will, is that, well, number one, the house always wins. Number two, the house always wins because it knows up front it controls and stacks probability in their favor. Any system that works with gambling, the casinos have rules to not let you use them for the most part. The options paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. The house always wins because that's what it does. So the obvious question, how do we do it? Well, the first step again is we shift from being the buyer of an option to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of shifting from being a gambler to being the casino and controlling and stacking that probability. Now, prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from brokers, okay, and it didn't work. He focused on our S&P 500 income system, which is our basic trading system. As he said, he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100,000 to 497,000 in 3 years. He said he's achieving a 74% win rate, that's what I expect, simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system. And he said the whole system takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. Here's an example again of a typical trade that you've been taught to make, right? You find a stock that you like. Let me bring my laser pointer out there. Stock's right there. You think it's going to go up. So you either buy shares of it, very expensive, buying 1,000 shares of a $200 stock is expensive, or instead you use the leverage of options and you buy a call. Why do you buy a call? Because it's the most basic options trade. Buying a call gives you the right to own the stock, but it does it for a fraction of the price. I can buy a call on this stock for maybe $2,000 versus $20,000 that would cost me to buy the stock. But what ends up happening a lot of times, the stock that you think is going to go up maybe only goes sideways or it goes down. Or what I think is worse is it goes up, but it goes up after your option expires and it ends up expiring worthless. Has it ever happened to you? Well, it happened to me, and that's why I was very sour on options when I first started doing them 20 years ago. Well, what's causing the problem? What's causing you to lose? Now, a lot of people feel the problem is, well, maybe they picked the wrong stock. Maybe it was the wrong strike price, or maybe it was the wrong expiration. But the real problem, if you've been losing money or had more losses than winners with other systems, it's not really your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. That's how you get ahead of everybody else. That is how you put probability on your side. This is how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at the selling of options and the seller's mindset. First, let's talk about the buyer's mentality. The buyer's mentality is the 50-50 shot. You buy the stock, you hope it goes up. There's a 50% chance the stock will go up. There's a 50% chance the stock will go down. Now, what we're going to do is have another strategic shift. We're going to talk about the seller's mentality. I'm going to say probability says the stock won't go lower than here. So I want you to think about this. The stock's at $203 a share. I think that the stock will go up. Now, what typically you would do is you would buy the stock, and then maybe down here at 195, you would place a stop loss order. All right, if the stock goes from 203 down to 195, I will exit the trade and lose money. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to sell an option at that 195 level. And what that does is it gives us a 60% probability that the trade will work. Because here's what happens. If the stock goes up like we think it will, we make money. If the stock goes sideways like we hope it doesn't, the trade will still make money. If the stock goes down, as long as it doesn't go past 195, we still have the ability to make money. All right? I want you to think back to what I just showed you. If you went and bought the stock right where the market is, if the stock goes up, you make money. If the stock goes sideways, you break even. If the stock goes down at all, you lose. As an option buyer, okay, if you just buy a call, if the stock goes up, you could win. But the stock has to go up even farther than the current prices for you to make money. If the stock goes sideways, you lose. If the stock goes down, you lose. Now what we're doing is we're shifting. If the stock goes up, you win. If it goes sideways, you win. If it goes down but stays above the option that you sold's price, you still can win. Now, the cool thing is using the probability of options, We can even stack it further in our favor. Instead of 195, in certain instances, I can do it at 190. Now what you're doing is saying, I make money if it goes up, sideways, and now look at the cushion I have to be profitable on this trade. Okay? The only way you can achieve this level of probability is by becoming an option seller. As an option seller, you're putting the probability of your success in your favor. This is the definition of an income trade. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction. Now, one of our clients, Mike dabbled with options, but he said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Could you imagine how frustrating it must be to lose on each one of your trades? Well, he did the right thing. He gave up on it. He stopped for a while. He went back to the drawing board, learned a little bit more about options, but he said he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. And that's because he didn't have a set criteria. He had no rules. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the Paycheck system, and he said he became like an instant income machine. After he implemented the system, he said he went out and had 17 out of 19 winning trades. Think about that. He went from losing on each, implementing a system, and then 17 out of 19. He made over 12 grand in 4 months. The key lesson here is going from that buyer to being a seller is how he turned his situation around. And he was so proud of his success, he even sent me a spreadsheet of the trades. Here's his results. I want you to notice the number of winners to the number of losers. Okay? That's pretty typical. Now look at the length of trades, the days. These are not swing trades. They're not day trades. The average trade takes about 7 days or so to make money. He's pulling in about $1,000 every 7 days. That's the beauty of what this can do. For him, it was over 85% winners. And our simplistic index strategy that trades just the S&P 500 has returned over the course of the last decade over 85% winners. So think of it like this. Instead of being that gambler, again, who loses the money, you're going to be the casino where you're stacking the odds in your favor. Now, I want you to think about a baseball analogy. What my goal as a trader is to hit singles. I want to hit for average. I don't want to be that guy that hits 210 but hits 60 home runs a year. Not that that's terrible, okay? But what I shoot for is small, consistent, high probability wins. When I lose, it's not a big loss, okay? Home runs look great, but those singles are what can win the games more consistently, okay? Now, what we want to learn to do is stack the odds. You've seen by simply flipping from the buyer to the seller, you can stack the odds in your favor. Now we're going to stack the odds even further by understanding and capitalizing on the 3 most common buyers or gamblers' mistakes. Mistake number 1 is simple. Option buyers choose unrealistic strike prices. They choose strikes that are so far away the stock has no chance of hitting it. Let me explain. Here's a stock. Let's say someone's bullish on this stock. Okay? A mistake that option traders make is they go out and they buy a call option way above the price of the stock. And they do it because they're cheap options. If I bought an option that had a strike price around the current price of the stock, it might cost me $1,000. But if I go here, it might only cost me $100. So people get seduced, if you will, like lottery. It's like a lottery ticket, right? Oh man, I can buy this thing for $100. If the stock goes to 300, I can make $20,000. Well, that's great, but it's like a scratch-off instant ticket. You might make $1 million, but chances are you probably won't. Okay? Now listen, since there's always going to be buyers out there who will buy those options, and whether they're buying them for lottery or buying them or selling them for whatever, right? We're going to take advantage of that, and we are going to be the one who sells it to them. They're buying an option that has a low probability of success. Their low probability of success gives us a high probability of winning. Now, we can reverse it. There's people who buy puts way below the market. Now, why would you buy a put? There's 2 reasons that people, well, there's lots of reasons that people buy puts, but there's 2 primary reasons that people buy puts. They buy puts, number 1, because they think a stock is going to go down. And it's the same idea, right? You buy a put right where the market is, maybe a 215 put, market's around 216, maybe that costs us $1,000. But if they go on here to 200, that put might only cost them $100. Oh man, if this stock goes to 190, I'm going to make so much money. but there's low probability of that ever happening. Or what some people will do is they own the stock, so they buy some puts to protect their position. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There's going to be buyers out there who are buying these options. We're going to be the one who sells it to them. Selling these options gives us a base 60 to 90% probability of success. Now you can see where I say 60, but then I've been saying 70% through some of the slides. We sell options that have a base 60% probability. But when you put it into our trading strategy, when you combine market direction and stock selection, that 60 becomes 70 with the good use of stock selection and market timing. Okay? Now, that's the first mistake. The second mistake is they choose expiration dates that are just too close. It's like when you go to a grocery store, right? And you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. It's cheap and it's a bargain as long as you're going to eat it today. Wait till next week, you're going to be throwing it out because it's rotten. Same thing with an option. This is a time decay chart. What you're seeing here is what happens to the price of an option as it gets closer to expiration. What you're seeing here is we have an option 6 months out to expire, and then as it gets closer and closer, the time of that option starts to evaporate, the time premium. And eventually, as you get closer to expiration, that time premium drops off exponentially. Okay? What a lot of traders do is they focus on buying their options in this window right here. Why? Well, they do it because premium is cheaper. Ron, if I buy 6 months out, it's going to cost me $1,000. If I buy an option, 2 weeks from expiration, it's only going to cost me $100. But then the time decay is going to eat away all that premium very rapidly, and you're going to lose. So what we do is we target the final 45 days of expiration. We sell options that are 60% probable of going our direction in the last 45 days to expiration. Okay, that's what our plan does. Now I want you to use an example here. This is a graph of Home Depot from a while back. Let's say that you're bullish on the stock right where my laser pointer is. So a lot of people, they'll go out, they'll buy an option that maybe expires in 2.5 weeks, right? Or maybe they'll go out 5.5 weeks and they'll buy an option. Well, the problem is the market's pretty much going sideways. If you would have bought that stock right there, you wouldn't have made any money, but you wouldn't have lost. Well, buying an option there, you're a loser because that time decay ate into the premium of your option. The stock didn't really go anywhere, and the time decay basically made that option worthless. What we're going to do as option sellers is we're going to put that time decay in our favor. As that option loses its value as it gets closer to zero, right? That option will self-destruct. We are going to make money. Now, the third thing, a lot of people don't know this one, is they pay for overpriced or expensive options. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. I want you to compare these two stocks. Doesn't matter what the stocks are, but compare the nut prices. I know it's a little small print there. The stock on the left is about $76, $76.24 to be exact, and the stock on the right is $76.36. They're right about the same price. I'm going to use the same option, basically, the same days to expiration, the same strike. July, and this is an example from like 6 years ago, but it's the same today, right? July $75 call, July $75 call. Look at the option premium on the left. It's $9. That means this option would cost you $910 to buy. This option over here would cost you $180. If you're not familiar with options, the reason why that is when you buy one call contract that controls 100 shares of stock. So this means you're going to pay $1.80 in premium in a 100 share block, so $180. Over here, you're going to pay $910. Same expiration, same strike price. Why is it a different option price? Because of volatility. Over on the left, volatility is very, very high. Versus over on the right, volatility is very, very low. Well, a lot of people ask, well, Ron, who cares? I mean, I have $1 million trading account, so who cares about trading a $900 option? I can easily afford that. It's not about that. It's about what that does to your chance of making money. If you bought each of those options on each of those stocks, and let's say that the stock went up $8 a share, that means if you would have bought 100 shares of each of those stocks, you would have walked away with an $800 profit. All right? However, if you would have bought the $75 call and the $75 call on the option on the left, you'd have actually lost money. You would not have been profitable. On the right, you would have been $720 in the profits. You would have basically made 400% on that option. You bought it for $180, now it's worth $720. Okay, you turned your 200 into 720. Over on the left, you turned your 910 into 800. You lost money. And again, the reason why that happened is because that option on the left was too expensive. The buyer simply paid too much. But as an option seller, this condition is awesome for me. What I try to do is seek out those really expensive premiums and sell them. Because the more premium that I can collect, the least amount of monetary risk that I have. And then also the more probability that I can trade with as well. So I'm going to seek out those really expensive high volatility premiums. Okay? Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. Prior to working with us, he said he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talk about here, and it really cost him dearly. In fact, he said he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. And in his own words, he was joking, but he said he came close to living under a bridge. Now, the Paycheck system helped him turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn those mistake liabilities we talked about into strategies to control. In 4 months, he grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, in order to do this, you've got to learn how to control and stack that probability in your favor. Now, I'm going to open the room up for questions, if you will, or comments. Have any of you ever made those buyer's mistakes? Any one of them, 1, 2, or 3? Type in the chat window, yes, no, I made 1, I made 2, I made 3. Hey, I've never traded options before. Let me know. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. My throat gets mighty dry from doing these seminars, that's for sure. All right, I see a lot of them. I see Sherilyn, Jay, Tony, Mark, and Jeff, and David, and Peter. Now, a couple of you guys, Santosh, you said you never traded. John, that's good, though. The reason why I say, and Bill, you said never traded either. Here's the cool thing. You're going to learn how to do this right is the key. That's the idea. So, Roger, you say the same thing. John never bought an option before, sold them with some success. So that's good. You had a good ground floor in there. Never traded options, but I made all these mistakes buying stocks. 1, 2, and 3. James, AJ, just buy and hold ETFs. Not a bad way to do it. Never traded options yet. Now, here's one of the great things. If you're new at this, I like working with new traders and new options guys. You want to know why? Because I can teach you how to do this so you won't take those dumb early mistake losses. I can fix that. If you have lost with some of these mistakes, it's not your fault. You were just taught a broken system, or you were never taught how to do this right is the key. All right, now that you know you want to be an option seller, and I hope that I showed you why selling is good, right? Let's look at how to trade with very little risk. Now, when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially selling options, they think it's really risky. And it can be if you don't know what you're doing. The Paycheck system uses a low-risk strategy for selling options. This is a core strategy that we teach our retirees. Why would we teach it to a retiree if it's risky, right? Now, reducing risk is important because if you don't use our Paycheck system, you may not be preserving your capital. You may have one bad trade wipe out the gains from a bunch of winners. We can't have that. That makes it very hard to recover those losses. So to trade properly, you need to have a built-in protection plan. You need to take care of risk management before you even open the trade. Do you know how you have a trade that would go against you? All right, let me phrase it this way. You know that slide right here, one bad trade wipes out a bunch of winners? That's never going to happen to you. Do you want to know why? Because if the trade is set up where it looks like that, you wouldn't take the trade. You should never take a trade that looks like this. The beauty of the options Paycheck system, if you do this, is we have built-in plans. We have a built-in protection plan. We know without a doubt our max risk is this. And if the max risk is too much, we would not take the trade. Okay? That's going to help you preserve and grow your capital. Like I said earlier, home runs look good, but singles are what score the runs. Now, one of my most common questions I get is, can we trade this from an IRA? Now, a client of ours, John, he grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using the system. He said he tried and struggled with trading for a long time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. He said in the 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than doubled the size of his IRA, and he said he spent no more than 15 minutes a day on his trading. Again, these are from customers telling me this, clients that have taken this class. Now, the options paycheck system makes sure you reduce risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk, okay? We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks, things that are moving up over the course of a year, over a course of 6 months, over the course of 3 months. It's a continual uptrend. Then, instead of selling an option what's called naked, we sell it with protection. Now, remember I showed you one bad trade can wipe out a bunch of winners? This is what that looks like. If you were to go into this trade and let's say you sell a 135 option, if the stock goes all the way down here, you have a ton of risk. You might make $100 if the trade works, but you may lose $5,000 if it goes against you. That's an example of trading with exceptional risk. What we do is we decrease the risk to this. We shrink the risk down, so even if the stock has some tremendous collapse, our risk is protected. So let me show you how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock, again, we'd be bullish on. It's a great looking graph moving up over the course of time. Traditionally, what would you do? You go out there and buy a stock right here, right? Buy a call, buy 100 shares, whatever. But remember, we're not the buyer anymore. What we are going to do in a bullish market, we are going to sell a put that has 60% or better chance of success for us to make money. When we sell that put, we receive premium. We are actually going to get paid on this trade. They're going to pay me $200, okay? But that's not like I'm selling a car and I'm done with the trade. I sell that put and I now have issued a trader a contract that says, hey, if you want me to, I will buy stock from you at this price. So it's not like over and done here. You actually have a trade on with a promise to buy the stock if the trader wants you to. Okay? Now again, when I sell that put alone, it gives me all this risk. If the stock collapses and goes down to $100, the guy that bought that option from me, he may say, hey Ron, I want you to buy the stock now. And guess what? I have to buy it from him at $135 a share, even though the stock is now at $100. That's a catastrophic loss. I can't do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some of that premium and we're going to go out and we are going to buy an insurance policy that reduces our risk to this. We are going to simultaneously buy a put as insurance. Now, when I sell a put, it's a promise that I may have to buy stock. When I buy a put, I have the right to sell it as well. So I sell this put for $200. I use $100 of that to buy insurance. That leaves me a credit of $100. I get paid $100 to place this trade. Now, if I do this with scale, let's say I did it 10 contracts, I would receive $1,000. Okay? I would receive $1,000. Now, the cool part is this. If the stock has some catastrophic loss, goes down to 100, if my option buyer says, hey, Ron, you got to buy the stock from me at 135, well, that's a bummer, but then I can turn right around and say, hey, you know that guy that, I bought the option from? Well, you got to buy it from me for 130. So that reduced my risk only to $5 a share. Okay? That's how the protection plan works. Now, in doing that trade, I've created a situation where I can make money if the market goes up. That's what I thought it was going to do. If it goes sideways, remember that time decay I talked about? When an option or a market goes sideways and I sold it, time decay makes me money. If it goes down, I can still make money on time decay. Now, here's the cool part, right? This is the trade like anything else. If I bought 100 shares of stock at 137 and the stock went up, that's awesome. But when you trade stock, I would hope that every one of you out there are using what's called a stop loss. All right, I buy the stock for $140 a share. I'm going to risk it down to 135. If it goes to 135, I'm going to exit the trade and take my loss. Guess what? These option trades are very, very similar. They're the same. All right, if the stock goes up, I win. If it goes sideways, I can win. If it goes down and passes 135, I simply exit the trade. That's it. It's a regular trade. And that happens typically, you make money in 7 to 10 days as we set these up. So let's put a couple examples together. Now, this is the cool thing. All of these trades I'm going to show you were real trades. These are trades that I do with my clients every week in a coaching program. This is Goldman Sachs. Now, what I want you guys to do, I want you to get into what I like to call the seller's mindset. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, I want you to go back to one of the first few slides we looked at. Now, I'm going to draw you guys in something here. I'm going to do it on this slide alone, and then when we get into the next ones, you'll be ready to go. All right? Here's what I want you guys to look at and figure out. All right? The stock is at 310. I think it's going to go up. All right? If I buy the stock right here, I have a 50-50 chance of success. What I want you guys to do is get into the seller's mindset. Okay? As you go below, if I sell an option right here, I may have a 60% chance to win, a 40% chance to lose. If I sell an option right here, I may have a 70% chance to win and a 30% chance to lose. If I sell an option down here, I may have a 80% chance to win and a 20% chance to lose. If I sell an option way down here, I may have a 90% chance to win and only a 10% chance to lose. Now, what you would ultimately want to do is you're going to look at this and say, well, Ron, wouldn't I want a 90% chance to win and a 10% chance to lose? Of course you would. But here's how this works, okay? This looks really attractive. But the problem is you might only make $100 down here with a winning trade, and you might lose $1,500 if you're wrong. Well, if I win 9 times out of 10, I make $900, but that one loss wipes out all my gains. Now, as you go up and up, that number is going to get better and better. At 60%, I may be able to make 200, okay? And if I lose, I only lose 175. Down here, it may be 175, 180. Down here, it may be 150, okay? And then maybe 225, something like that. Now, I'm just making these numbers up, but there is a compromise. We can't go too far out of the way and do this. We have to maintain good accuracy, good success, but we also have to maintain good money management in the same way. Okay? So I'm going to give you the answer to this one. This was a real trade that I did. Goldman Sachs was 310. I thought the stock was going to go up. I went down and I sold an option right at $300. I sold a $300 put. I simultaneously bought the 290. That paid me $157. I did 5 contracts, which made $785. Now, this is what happened. Over the next 8 days, the stock went up. You can see right here on February 16th, earlier this year, I did that trade. This happens to be Thinkorswim, okay? I simultaneously sold a $300 put and bought a $295, and I received $1.57 in credit. On 2/24, I exited the trade, and I paid 80 cents. So here's how this works, right? When I enter the trade, I get paid $157. When I exited the trade, I have to spend $79. All right? What happens? I get to keep the difference. That's how these trades work and become profitable. All right, now I'm going to turn it to you guys. This is Tesla. Tesla's in a nice uptrend. Break some resistance. Let's zoom in a little bit closer to Tesla. I want you now to do exactly what I did on Goldman Sachs. Think of what I just showed you. Where do you think Tesla will not drop to? Seller's mindset. It's easy to say 400 bucks, but remember, nothing's free. That trade could kill you on the front of risk and reward. So what do you guys think? What's a good compromise here? All right, 480, Sherilyn, you're right there at about 480, so you're about right in this area here. That's pretty good. 450 down here, I see. Michelle, 475 to 480. 495, Santosh, that's about right up here. 465, Dave, you're about right in this area too. 465, Donald as well. Daniel, 475. Jeff, you're at 450, which is down about here. So I'm basically seeing all you folks, and I'll say ladies and gentlemen, in this range about right here. Okay? Murrow, you mentioned 475. Well, here's where that trade was actually done. 485 and 480. I did it at 195 credit per contract. I did 8 contracts and brought in $1,560. Now, again, the whole reason why I did this, I think the stock's going to go up. If it does, I make money. If the stock goes sideways, I lose. If the stock goes down but stays above 485, I can still win. All right? This is the trade log. This was back from November of last year. On November 23rd, I did the trade and I got paid $1.95. On November 25th, I exited the trade by paying $85 and I kept $880 in only 2 days. Okay? Now, I want to talk a little bit about another client, Jim. He told me prior to working with me, he said his results were inconsistent and he felt unsatisfied. He kept thinking there had to be something better out there. You ever think that way? There's got to be something I'm missing. He said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and would provide a more regular income and have a higher probability of success. Now, after learning the system and being the option seller, he told me he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months, and his average trade lasted about 8 days. Can you imagine how it feels to go from inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? Now, I want you guys to think, because I want some feedback from you. If you could do what Jim did, or any of my previous clients did, if you could implement that system and allow you to make that 3% on average, what would that do for you? What would you be able to do with an extra 3% return a month in your life? What could you do? I'm going to take a real quick drink again here, and I'm going to let you guys type some responses in there. Bear with me just a second. I'm getting something up on the other screen that I'm going to show you guys later. There we go. All right. All right, take a cruise. Richard, I like that. It's probably a good idea to start doing that now that the vaccination rates are going nuts, right? Trips, Santosh, I like that. I agree with you. I have 3 kids under 5 years old. So I just got back from the Outer Banks in a nice little house on the ocean there. And my wife's already talking about next year we want to go to Aruba. And then after that, we want to go to Disney when the kids are older. So having that extra cash definitely helps. That's for darn sure. Get billed paid and help out others. You know, Don, that is one of the things that Bruce likes to do. Bruce does a lot of missionary work, and he donates a lot of his trading profits. He does a lot of that. That's why, you know, Bruce is a great guy. That's the guy that turned 100 into 497. So that's good. Oh, I also see retire early. Pay off the house quicker. Pay for my kids' college. All right? These are the things that I want you to understand that having that extra income can allow you to do. All right? Now, again, the way that we do this is by being the seller. All right? We said before that buying can be gambling, but selling can control your risk and put the odds of success in your favor to help you generate income. Now, I actually want to show you guys a real trade that I'm in right now. And the reason why I want to show you guys this real trade that I'm in is because I want you guys to see how this works. Okay, I normally don't do this in a class, but I want to do it today. This is a trade that I actually have on. I put this on Monday. So I put it on what was that, 6/12? 6/14. All right. Now, I did this trade and I received $780. Okay. Now, what does that mean? My goal is to make half of that. I want to make $390. Now, I want to show you how the risk works on this trade. If the stock, I sold a 75 put. So if you look at the graph, here's where I did it. I sold a put right down here at 75. Now, just so you know, that gives me about a 67% chance of success on options alone. If the stock goes up, I will make $390. But if the stock goes down, what I am going to do is exit the trade if it hits 75 bucks. Now, I can make $390. If this trade goes against me right here, I will lose three, and you can see it right over here in the corner. Okay, right over here in the corner. I want you to look at that number. If that trade goes past $75, I will lose $376 on this trade. This is a real trade that I'm in. Okay, this is an actual trade that I'm in. All right, so it's got a $390 profit and a $370 risk. But Ron, what if it goes lower than that? Yeah, 1 or 2 trades a year might go lower than on a market gap. It doesn't happen very often. But if it does, maybe I lose 450. One of those is not going to hurt me. Okay? It's not going to be a big loss. So let me show you that bulletproof system, that 15 minutes a day. It's very important because a lot of people say, and they come to me, that they can't find trades easily. It takes a lot of time. And because they don't have a strategic plan, they don't know where to go. They're basically trading blindly, like a mouse running through a maze. What we all want is good, reliable returns, and we want them fast. To do that, you need a system. And not just any system. You need a straight line system, a way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the pieces of the Paycheck system and the order they go in. Now listen, no one else teaches option selling this way. It's like the secret sauce. There's 6 pieces, the top 5 build on each other, and then the 6th kind of ties them all together. At the top of the system is market direction. Okay? A lot of traders ignore this. Don't ignore market direction. It's very important. You're going to be placing trades in accordance with the overall market direction. If the market is bullish, we're going to be placing bullish trades. If the market is bearish, we're going to be placing bearish trades. If the market's neutral, we can place neutral trades. You're taking that trading down to only one move at a time. You're not trying to find bullish stocks, bearish stocks, neutral stocks. Market's bullish, you go bullish. Market's bearish, you go bearish. Okay? We do this because trading in the market direction increases our odds of success. Study after study has shown that when the market's in a certain trend, stocks generally follow. So once we have direction, we're going to use a stock finder. That stock finder is going to help us find stocks that are matching the direction of the overall market. We're not going to watch CNBC, IBD, nothing like that. We're going to find good stocks that are already in uptrends when the market is rising. We're going to use fundamentals and trend analysis to do this. We're going to find stocks moving down when the market's moving down, and we're going to only trade those stocks that are moving in the market direction. Okay? Now, once we have a good stock, we're going to look at the options. We want to isolate out the best ones for our option selling. Earlier, we saw how big of an effect volatility had. I'm going to look for high volatility options. But then I'm also going to factor out earnings, and I'm going to set the trade up with the right expiration. Earnings are huge. I always avoid earnings announcements in my trades because that can make the stock go all kinds of crazy ways. All right. Now you can use tools from the broker to help eliminate these. I use a proprietary search tool which helps me find these very, very quickly. Then we set the trade up. We pick the one that has the highest probability of success based on the strike prices. Now, I didn't talk a lot about risk reward, but I gave you guys an idea, right? I don't take trades where I can make $400 or $4,000, but it's going to cost me $20,000 in a loss. You guys saw an actual trade that I'm in right now that I placed Monday, Chegg. I can make $390 or I can lose $370 with a 67% chance of success. Okay? It's a better than one-to-one risk reward. That is the situation I want to see. Then we have to have a management plan. Where do I get out with profits? Okay. Where can I adjust or repair the trade if I choose to reduce my losses? And where do I exit if the trade goes against me? I don't want you to be like the deer in the headlights. I want you to have a solid plan of attack for this. And then lastly, a tool for speed and efficiency. You can do this with any software you want. I happen to use VectorVest and Options Pro, which takes away a lot of the selection time for me. You know, speaking of tools, one of my clients, Hugh, he said that was his deal. He wanted an efficient system, but he didn't care about making a lot of money if it was going to take him 80 hours a week to do it. He wanted efficiency where he could make good amounts of money in the minimum amount of time as possible. That is my story of my life, right? The path of least resistance. Hugh learned the system. He had 43 trades and 38 winners and 27 grand in profits in 4 months. Okay? How are you guys like that? You spend so much time doing things that you don't want to do, but then the time that you can't spend that time doing things you want to do. That work-life balance isn't there for you. That's what a good income system can do. Now, so let's do this. I want you guys to take your pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of the system where you're pretty good. For example, if you have a good way to find stocks, put a star there. If you're not familiar with option selection or option trade setup, put a little frowny face there. Don't overthink it. I want you to take about 10 seconds, give yourself a star or a frown based on this trading plan, and find out where you're good at. I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. All right, back to you guys. Share with me. Type in the chat. Don't be shy. What areas do you need to work on to be successful? What are areas that you've identified your weaknesses at? All right. For easy, all frowns. Donald, Sherilyn, management, trade management, Fred, volatility, David. So that's probably more in the option selection. Richard, all areas. I'm just learning. Dave, I like that. Risk management, Jay. Need to work on all areas. Donald, trade setup, Dan. AJ, not traded options to date, so that's good. You need to work on all of them. Scott, you're mentioning setting them up. Open interest strike price, Francis. Tony, you meant trade setup. Option selection and tools. I'm trying to read them as fast as I can, but I know I'm going to miss a couple of there. Alex, you mentioned all. All right, so here is the deal, okay? You now have a trading roadmap where you need to fix some issues. Now, I don't know why you came here today, but I'm going to make a few guesses. Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly, bumping into one wall into the next. It leaves you with inconsistent results, just like Jim did before he learned the paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Either way, you're just not where you want to be. Now, today I showed you the secret to fix that. A secret, again, that I bet only 1 in 100 investors will ever know, and now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. How if you do it right, with a real trading example of a trade that I'm in, how you can do it with very little risk. You saw the system that gets consistent income in every month. I showed you just a few of the many people who use the system so they never have to worry about income again. You saw over and over, the secret to generating consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to the casino. Remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. There's going to be 99 other people out there that don't know. They're going to be buying options and making all those mistakes. You can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who buy incorrectly. Let them do it. They're the gamblers. As long as they're there, we'll be the casino because the house wins in the end. The paycheck system is what teaches you how to stack that probability in your favor, just like Brian did. Same as Bruce. Bob as well. 71% ROI in 4 months. Jim, inconsistent to reliable income, 21 winners with no losses in 8 months. Hugh, more confidence, more free time, more fun, 26 grand in 4 months. In 12 months, John grew his IRA, 85% winning trades. So if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement the paycheck system in my portfolio right now? Well, you have a choice. Option number 1 is you do nothing. Stay where you are. If you already have enough money to retire, you're not worried about running out of money, then maybe you don't need the paycheck system. But if you want to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with 2 other options. Or 1 other option, pardon me. 2 other options, I'm sorry. You could do it alone. You could try to learn the option trades, how they work, figure out the direction, learn to analyze stocks, hope you pick the right one. If you're willing to work hard, put up with some trial and error loss, you may be able to pull it off. But that third option is the path of least resistance. Let me show you how to do it. I'll walk you through each piece of the paycheck system, and in just a few weeks, you will have a simple system to follow, one that does not take a lot of time. So think about it. of those three options, I want to ask yourself, what's going to be easier for you? There's two types of people. Person one is somebody who dreams about their financial goals, but they never take action to make it happen. The second person, this is one that is serious, right? Serious. They're ready to take action when they see an opportunity in front of them. Since you're dedicated to be here with me to this point, I'm willing to bet you're person two, and that makes you the perfect candidate to get started on your first options paycheck. So let me tell you what I put together for you. First and foremost is our Options Paycheck course. It's a complete A to Z system designed to teach you the entire thing so you can generate consistent income each month. You can live the lifestyle you want without that fear you're going to run out of money. Now, our clients who've taken this course can make that average of 3% per month. Some guys who are a little bit more like Brian and Bruce, they can go 5 to 15%. They can get up to 80% success rate. It's taking them less than an hour a week. How do you learn it? You learn it through the 7 modules of the course. We start by building a strong option foundation. You're going to know exactly how calls and puts work to confidently use them in your trades. Modules 2 and 3, you're going to learn how to create the trades that have that 70% or better success rate. Module 4 is going to teach you how to quickly find and select the best stocks and indexes to trade. Module 5, you're going to know which stock makes the best option candidates and how to set up your trades for the most efficiency. Module 6, no more deer in the headlights. If a trade goes against you, you're going to know exactly what to do. If a trade goes for you, you're going to know exactly what to do. You're going to know how many contracts to trade, how much risk that you should be prepared to take, and everything you need to manage your portfolio. Module 7, it's all about the broker and trade execution. Okay? You're going to know exactly how to go to your broker and find the things that you need. In fact, we put this into a checklist for you. When you're starting out, a checklist is really nice to have because it makes it so you don't miss any steps. Okay? Now, before I talk about the price of the course, I want to make this low risk for you. We offer a 100% guarantee on the course. You can go through the entire course, and if you're not satisfied that we taught you how to do it, taught you how to profit, you can get your money back. There's no risk. Now, the only exception to this is I say this. You got to do the work. You actually have to go to the classes. You actually have to look at the classes. That's the key. You have to actually look. We can tell if you are doing it. Trust me, we have eyes. We're like Facebook and Amazon. Just kidding. Okay? If you don't do the work, you won't be eligible for a refund. I don't want you to come back to me at the end of the course and say, Ron, I just didn't have time for the course, so I didn't do anything. No. You got to actually do the work. So if it's not time for you to do it, that's fine too. But if you go through the work, you do the process, you watch the modules, you do have that money back guarantee. Okay? And again, the whole goal here is to generate that 3% per month. That's 36% per year. We'll see how I do this year. Last year I did like 63%. The year before that I did like 50%. The year before that I was only right around 35, 36%. The year before that I was a little bit better than that. So it's been pretty good. All right? Now, a few months ago, actually it's been a while now. This is from October of last year. This is awesome because this was last year. 2020 was not an easy market to trade, I think, as you guys all know, with the coronavirus and all the volatility. A colleague of mine, Joe, or not a colleague, a client of mine, Joe, wrote me a letter and said, hey, I'm thanking you for teaching this paycheck course. I took your class last fall. That means 2019. And he wanted to let me know his results for the 10 months. That was during the coronavirus sell-off and all the weirdness of last year. He said he had 239 trades, or 350 trades, 239 winners, 68% winning rate, profiting over $100,000 in that time. What's more exciting is that he says he's basically locked it up because his knowledge and experience have grown. He starts taking only really good risk-reward trades and that $50,000 over the last 6 weeks. He said his success rate has been 78% over the last 100 trades, and he only trades with a 2-to-1 or better risk-reward. I want to thank you again for teaching this simple but effective system. Okay? Think about that. If I told Joe back in 2019, hey, give me 2,000 and I'll give you 100,000, you think he would take that trade? Probably. All right? Would you take that trade? Well, I'm going to make you a better offer than that here in a second. Now, before I tell you any more about it, I want to point something out. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's something that, listen, I don't want you to expect to turn your account 400% profitable overnight. It's serious. It requires effort. If you can't commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. It's for serious people who are ready to put some time into this, who take their investing seriously and are willing to put in the time to learn. So if you're serious about this, you're ready to do work and get results, the Option Paycheck course is perfect for you. This course, now this is going to be a little bit different for the Father's Day sale here. I'm going to explain how this works. you're going to get the course two ways. It's going to be delivered live to you starting in August. I know that sounds crazy, right? Ron, the course starts in August. Yes, it does. But what we are going to do is we are going to give you the course recorded right now. So if you want the course, you sign up for it, you're going to be able to look at this thing for the next 4 or 5 weeks, get ready, go through the modules, and then in August, when I start doing it live, you're going to be able to hit the ground running, reviewing the modules, placing trades. It's really nice for you guys. You can basically get a 3-month process here of this, okay? Now, that has a value of $19.90. There's that $2,000 price. Now, I'm also going to throw in a couple of extras for you guys. We give you the SPX Paycheck system. If you're worried that finding stocks and all it's going to be too much, I've reduced it down for those of you that want to keep it simple to one trade, the S&P 500. It's one trade type, one ticker symbol. It's got one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. This can reduce your trading to 15 minutes a week. Okay? It's very, very simple. And that's a special bonus presentation that's included in the Paycheck. Now, once August starts, I'm going to give you 7 live mastery support sessions. This starts in August. Every week, I do a mastery class to make sure you are up on every module that we teach. We go in order. Week 1 is module 1. Week 2 is module 2. So you're going to get those mastery support sessions starting in August. We're going to put together a private Facebook community for you. This is nice because you get to go in there with a group of other people that are going through the course. You have access to me, the rest of my Paycheck team, and then you also get 12 months of live Q&As. I just did one on Wednesday, a Q&A membership, or a Q&A for our alumni forum that went through the Paycheck. And I've got people that have gone back in 2015 and are still participating, and I'm working with them. Now, starting again in August, I'm going to give you 7 weeks access to my members-only group coaching. I give weekly trade recommendations. We trade in real time. You know, this week we made a winning trade on BX. I think we put that on last week and took profits. I've got Chegg that I'm profitable on. I made a couple other trades this week on some regular calls that I bought. It's basically your chance to see me trade in real time using these systems that we teach. Okay? That's where we learn this. This all starts in August. Now, the live course also includes that 7 weeks access to the software I use. The software, while it's not mandatory, I think you will see that it is a good tool for speed and efficiency. But you can do this without the software, but you get 7 weeks to try the software out, see if you like it, see if it's worth the money to you. You don't have to use it to do the system, but it does make it nice. Now, remember, here's how this works, okay? If you sign up for this right now, we're going to turn the course on for you. You're going to get the digital course. Then in August, you start the live presentations. It's the same thing, but in August, you get the software, you get the modules live, you get all the mastery sessions, you get the weekly coaching, and all that stuff starting in August. Okay? Now, a couple of you mentioned that you were new to options. If you are new to options, I'm also going to include a streaming options foundation course. What this is a basic class. It teaches you about calls, it teaches you about puts. Basic things like delta, understanding basic options terminology. That way, when you start the actual Paycheck, you will have a leg up. In fact, some of our former clients who had never traded options before posted in the Facebook group, hey, never done this before, but I just made my first 7 option trades and had 5 winners and 2 losers. Bobby, paid for half the class already with my first trade. Okay? I don't guarantee results like that, but that foundation course is very, very nice for you to learn some of the basics. Okay? So just to recap, the live Paycheck course, okay? The live starts in August. You're going to get access to all the materials as soon as you sign up. The Paycheck bonus, again, you'll get access to that right off the bat. 7 mastery support sessions, that starts in August. Weekly coaching and trade recommendations start in August. Access to VectorVest and Options Pro starting in August. And a Facebook group and 12 months of Q&A. That's going to start probably pretty quick. And then the Options Foundation course, which is streaming, that's available to you right now. Now, the total package, $1,600. But since you spent about an hour with me, so here's the opportunity. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to work with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income, even if you've never had success with this before. You've spent about an hour with me today, okay? If you want to join me and have me take you by the hand and instill this in, get this course working for you, okay? Get this off the ground running. We can do it for $9.95. All you got to do is go to www.vectorvest.com/paycheck and sign up. Now, tell you what I'll do. I appreciate your time and I want to pay you for it. So if you order before the end of tonight's webinar, now we're going to do a Q&A session next that might take 15, 20, 30 minutes depending on how many questions I get. If you go right now to www.vectorvest.com/paycheck, I'll pay you $100 for your time. I'll knock that down to $8.95. That is the lowest price that you will ever get this course outside of somebody retaking it. Okay? It's lower than our elite pricing. It's the lowest price that you will get if you've never taken the option Paycheck before. All right? Now, if you've taken the option Paycheck before and you want a refresher, well, let us know and we can give you a refresher rate too. Okay? Go to www.vectorvest.com/paycheck. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what's it going to cost you not to do this? How much money will you lose by learning by trial and error? And how much profit will you maybe miss out on? How much time and energy will you spend trying to do it on your own? And then ask yourself, would things be different if you do it and it worked? You know, there's an old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. The second best time is today. It's not too late to start preparing for extra income in retirement. Today could be one of those deciding days in your life. Is it going to be that day you take action and set yourself up? Or is it going to be the day that you look back and where you squandered an amazing opportunity to create that income system? I hope you don't regret the choice. Don't miss the opportunity. It's a special opportunity where you get to basically look at the digital course for 5 weeks, and then bam, in August you get to start the live course with all the software. It's just a really good experience for you guys using our special that we have today. So again, go to www.vectorvest.com/paycheck. It's $8.95. You can sign up for it today. The digital course becomes active. And then in August, and I have a calendar that I'll show you when we start the Q&A of when that live course begins. Okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to kind of dismiss the class, if you will. We're going to open it up for any Q&A session. And do me a favor. If you're signing up, if you know this is right for you, say, hey, Ron, I'm in. I'm in. I want to see who the people are I'm going to be working with in August. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and helping you. And we are going to do this together to turn you into an income trader. Okay? All right. Let's hit off the Q&A. John, I know John just gave a link in the chat window there for the Paycheck. So if you go to this website, you will see it right here. Ultimate Retirement Mastery Package is $8.95. You just click on Purchase Course Now, and that's how you can purchase the course. All right. John, I'll bring you on. Do you have any big questions or anything that you need to that stood out for you?
The first series of questions was with the regards to the calendar, just to make sure the dates for both the mastery sessions and or the live sessions, plus the period when they'd get free access to the group coaching.
All right, cool beans. So everything live starts August 5th. So you have, like I said, about 5 weeks until the live course starts. But again, you get to preview everything right now. You can go into university, you get the complete digital course. You're actually going to be able to see mastery sessions that I just completed for the options paycheck that I'm doing right now. You're going to get to see my trade recommendations and how they worked for the last paycheck class that I did. So you're going to be able to watch for the next 4 or 5 weeks and go through this at your own pace. And then in August, we can really hit the ground running. So on Thursday, August 5th, we start with Module 1. Now, these start at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, if you can't make the live course, it's no big deal. Everything that we do is recorded, so you'll be able to see it. Okay? We've got you covered. Now, for the rest of the course, it shifts to Tuesday. Tuesday is Module 2 on the 10th, and then then Module 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay? So that shifts over in August and September. Now, the mastery sessions, the first mastery session we do Monday, August 9th at noon. That covers Module 1. And then we shift to a Friday schedule for the remainder of the course. Those are all at noon Eastern Time. I do those at noon because I like to use real-time market data when I can. That way, if we see an interesting trade, we can jump on it if we want to. Okay? So that, again, starts in August. The software starts in August. The trade recommendations, the live ones start in August. but you're going to get access to the digital for the first 5 weeks until that August 5th starting date. Okay? And again, remember, it's $8.95 if you order now.
Next question, Ron, is regards to the dollar amounts for trading, minimum and or maximum.
There's no
Whatever
real,
falls
yeah,
in.
there's no real minimum. I mean, you can open an account with $5,000. Now, if you open an account with $5,000, please understand that my goal is to make 3% a month. That's $150. I am never going to make it so you are leveraging your entire account. Okay, I'm never going to have it where you're taking a trade with a $5,000 account and you're risking $5,000. That's why I say it's not like a get rich or an overnight quick scheme, right? You can have $5,000 and do 1 or 2 trades or 1 trade a week and make money. Now, I will say this, the paycheck concepts kind of start leveling out when you get into the 400,000 range. So you can't do this with $30 million. You can't do this with $20 million, right? If you ask me why, it's real easy. Option liquidity, okay? There's only a handful of options that can handle huge order flow. What we can do is we can come in with that 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, 300, find enough trades, trade with enough liquidity. We're not worried about not being able to get in and out of the market at will. So like I said, you can start with a very small amount like Brian did. He started with $6,000, or you can probably end it up to about, I'm going to say about 400 is where you're going to start having trouble finding trades with enough liquidity to get you in and out of that market easily.
Well, Ron, I have a question here about the type of accounts that you can take these in. Can these be traded in an IRA?
Yes, in some aspects, yes. Not every IRA will support this, but through my teaching this over the last decade, I'd say about 80% of the IRAs that I've come across can support this type of trading. Always check first. Always go to your broker and say, hey, I'm going to start implementing this, option income strategy, and I'm going to be doing credit spreads. Can I do that? Most of the time, they'll make you get a higher level of trading. You'll have to sign a couple more documents. But I'd say about 80% of the IRAs I've come across can do this type of trading.
Excellent, Ron. I'm just looking through here. As far as the time commitment for during the week when you're taking the course, how much is that? How much time do you think they should spend?
I would safely say 3-4 hours a week. That 3-4 hours a week is going to do a couple things. It's going to get you to be able to either watch the live sessions or watch the recordings of, the module, the mastery, our walkthrough videos of our assignments every week, maybe even the trade recommendation. About 3-4 hours a week will get you to where you have enough time to do everything that you would want to do.
Excellent, Ron. Is this course applicable for international subscribers, people not in the US?
Somewhat. I will say this, I know traders that do this in Canada and the UK and Australia. One of the things I will tell you is that everything that we teach applies applies across the board. The same techniques and the manners they apply to Toronto or Canadian options and London options and European options and Australian. The one thing I will tell you is Australia, Canada, Europe, London, you're going to have a little less trading opportunities because of option liquidity. Most of our traders trade US markets for this, but you can do this in other countries as well. The analytics that we use, the techniques are universally applied. You just might not have the number of options that are liquid to you to trade.
And Ron, just to confirm the time frame when they will have access to the software?
That starts with the date of the first live class, August 5th. So on August 5th, you're going to get access to the software. We're going to turn on access to all the live events. So you'll be getting our trade recommendations. That all starts Thursday, August 5th. And that'll go all the way to August 20 or September 24th. So you'll have access to all the live materials and all the software from August 5th all the way to September 24th.
Excellent. I'm just looking through here.
Well, you guys did a pretty good
Do you
job hitting
see
all the
anything?
questions. No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, we'll give you like another minute or two if you want to hit those real quick. Maybe we missed it or something. Type those in there, and we'll kind of have like a 1-minute warning, if you will, to get any last-minute questions out. Does that sound good, John?
Sounds good.
All right. Let's see.
I see a question from Emmanuel about access to VectorVest software
Right.
on handheld devices.
I mean, we do have a mobile version, of course, but to do this course, it's going to be desktop. You have to have a desktop because that's how the applications run. All right. And then, will I need to access Options Pro software after the course? That's a question that's been asked once or twice too. And the answer is no. You don't ultimately have to have Options Pro. Options Pro is simply a tool for speed and efficiency. I've been trading options like this for over a decade, and before Options Pro existed even. Options Pro is nice because it gets you the trade results faster, but you can do this without utilizing that software if you want to. So nope, not required, but you're going to at least get to take a chance of it and see how it looks. Maybe it's something you like, maybe it's not.
A question here, the prices. How long is the $8.95 price good for? What does it change to, and when does it expire?
The $8.95 is going to go away here in a few minutes, and then it'll go back to $9.95. After the Q&A, it goes back to $9.95. And then, John, do you know I forgot to write down when it changes. Does it stay $9.95 for a while?
Till the end of the week.
Till the end of the week. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then for those of you that are just signing up now, absolutely, you'll get an email probably within the next hour with all the information about how to access the university and all that kind of stuff. So you should get that pretty soon. Doesn't take
That
too
is
long.
correct. Yeah.
Make sure you
And then
check
make
your.
sure
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
you got me. No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Check your
Same
clutter
thing.
folders or your spam folders because sometimes it goes into there too. We were on the same page.
Yeah.
All right. David, you mentioned you signed up and got a WordPress error message. John can look into that and make sure everything is good to go for you too. He can take that information.
Um, First question is, did the charge go through on the card? David? If you can just type that in, I'll take his information down either way, but just
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, all right. Well, I think we got to the end there. I think that's pretty much it. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go ahead and we'll wrap this thing up. Thank you guys for attending. Have a good Father's Day weekend for all of you fathers out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, this is kind of a unique offer. You get to see the digital course for about 5 weeks, and then you get to kind of get that in place. And then boom, in August, we start live. So you'll get to see how we implement it back then. So I'll let you guys go. Have a good evening, everybody. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you here with me for the last hour and a half. Best of success to all of you. For those of you that are in, I'm looking forward to working with you here over the next really course of 3 months to get this in place for you. So I'll bid you farewell for tonight. And thanks, everybody, once again. Have a good one, everybody.